The 20-year prison sentence for the ousted Egyptian president. This sentence was handed down Tuesday and was for just one of the cases against him. It relates to the deaths of at least 10 protesters during protests in December 2012. Now, these are 3 other cases against him, including one linked to his escape from prison in 2011. He was being held in custody after a roundup of Muslim Brotherhood supporters. Morsi is also charged with spying. He's accused of conspiring to commit terrorist acts in Egypt with the Palestinian movement Hamas. And there's also allegations that he endangered Egypt's national security by leaking state secrets to Qatar. He's charged with fraud in connection with the Muslim Brotherhood's economic and social program for Egypt's recovery. And he's also accused of insulting the judiciary after he allegedly accused a judge of overseeing fraud in previous elections. Well, joining us now is Abdullah Al-Arian. He's a history professor at Georgetown University here in Qatar. Abdullah, good to have you with us. Let's talk about first the timing of this first sentence for Mohamed Morsi. It is significant, isn't it?
Yes, the timing is significant given the fact that he's been imprisoned since the summer of 2013 when the coup overthrew his presidency. And the court was coming up against a very tight deadline in which, had they not convicted him, he would have actually been ordered released according to Egyptian law. He had spent the maximum amount of time behind bars without there actually being any conviction against him. And so the courts had to act quickly in order to make sure that he would not be released at any time in the foreseeable future.
In this first verdict, he is sentenced to 20 years in jail, but no death penalty, which a lot of people find surprising. But the reality is that he could still face this death penalty because of all these other cases that he's facing that we've mentioned, right?
Right. I mean, there is a method to the madness that has become the Egyptian judiciary, and I think that there's a kind of strategic use of how these sentences are actually handed down. There are more serious charges that he's currently still facing, including, of course, the treason charge, which comes with an automatic penalty of death. And of course, at the same time, the Egyptian government is trying to use these as bargaining chips in order to try and maintain a certain amount of leverage on the Muslim Brotherhood and on the opposition more broadly that it continues to face almost 2 years since the coup has occurred, and trying to kind of quell that resistance that it still faces from large segments of Egyptian society.
It is quite a dramatic journey for Morsi. I mean, from being the first democratically elected president in Egypt to now being handed down this 20-year sentence. Tell us more about the message the current Egyptian authorities are trying to send with this first verdict.
Well, I think that there's an attempt here to rewrite history, essentially, the history of the Egyptian uprising going back to 2011. I mean, if we think about it, Hosni Mubarak was responsible for far worse crimes, and of course he has since been acquitted and released. The current president, Sisi, who's responsible for a coup that overthrew the first democratically elected president in Egyptian history, who's responsible for far more mass deaths. I mean, if we're talking about the death of 10 protesters, Sisi oversaw the murder of over 1,000 Egyptian citizens in one day at Rabaa, and then many hundreds since then. Not to mention the 40,000 Egyptian prisoners currently behind bars for political reasons, in the attempt to kind of squash all opposition and get rid of any kind of democratic process in the foreseeable future. So these verdicts are part of a much broader attempt to try to assert the new authoritarian state that Sisi and many people within the military and within some of the elites within Egypt are attempting to cement as the new kind of post-coup order.
Right. These verdicts, you've mentioned there's so many of them, there's so many trials, not just of Mohamed Morsi, but of Muslim Brotherhood supporters. I wonder today whether Egyptian society cares about everything that's happening in the judiciary, I mean, about these trials, or do people just want to move on with their lives now and basically forget about what happened 3-4 years ago?
Well, I think that you certainly see that sentiment expressed, right? That the coup logic is such that it came about in order to restore economic prosperity and security to Egypt. But as we've seen, of course, it's done neither of those things. And so in as much as these crimes against particular citizens, against the president, against the Muslim Brotherhood are not objectionable in the eyes of most people, but certainly the inability of this government to produce any kind of results and to justify its existence seems to be of major concern to a number of Egyptians who have not seen their economic situation improved, who've actually seen the security situation deteriorate throughout Egypt, especially in the Sinai, but even in the capital. And so in that sense, I think that certainly there are a number of other concerns that in some ways transcend these verdicts, but these verdicts are also meant to be a distraction from those problems.
Abdullah Al-Arian from Georgetown University, thank you very much for your insight.